Hello everyone! Spring is just around the corner. I can almost smell the fresh earth and feel the warmth of the sun on my skin. Whether you're an experienced gardener or just starting out, a bit of planning goes a long way. So grab your notebooks, a cup of tea, and let's get started. In this video, we'll go through a step-by-step checklist to help you create a thriving and beautiful garden this spring. We'll cover everything from setting goals to organizing your tools, ensuring you're fully prepared for a successful growing season. Before we even think about seeds and soil, let's take a moment to dream a little. What do you envision for your garden this year? Are you longing for the taste of fresh, homegrown vegetables bursting with flavor? Perhaps you're picturing a vibrant display of colorful flowers to brighten your days. Writing down your gardening goals is like setting an intention. It gives you clarity and direction as you move through the planning process. Once you have a good grasp of your goals, it's time to get visual. Grab your notebook and start sketching out your garden space. Consider the size and shape of your garden beds. Will you have raised beds for better drainage and easier access? Or perhaps you prefer traditional in-ground beds for a more integrated look. Think about pathways as well. Do you want winding paths that invite you to stroll through your garden, or straight, practical paths for easy access to your plants? Now that we have our goals and a rough sketch of our garden layout, it's time to put on our detective hats and assess the space itself. The first thing to consider is sunlight. How many hours of direct sunlight does your garden receive each day? Some plants, like tomatoes and peppers, thrive in full sun, while others, like lettuce and spinach, prefer a bit of shade, especially during the hottest part of the day. Observe your garden throughout the day and note down the sunny and shady spots. This will help you determine the best location for each type of plant. Next, let's examine the soil. Good soil is the foundation of a healthy garden. It provides essential nutrients and support for your plants to grow strong roots. Take a handful of soil and feel its texture. Is it loose and crumbly, or is it dense and compacted? The ideal soil is a well-balanced loam, which is a mixture of sand, silt, and clay. If your soil is too sandy, it won't retain water well. If it's too clayey, it can become waterlogged and suffocate the roots. Don't worry if your soil isn't perfect. There are things you can do to improve it. Adding organic matter, like compost or well-rotted manure, can help improve drainage, aeration, and nutrient content. Knowing your soil type will also guide you in choosing the right plants. Some plants are more tolerant of different soil conditions than others. Understanding your garden's unique characteristics is crucial for making informed decisions about what to plant and where. With our goals set and our garden space assessed, it's time to roll up our sleeves and create a planting schedule. This is where the real fun begins. A well-planned planting schedule ensures that you're sowing and transplanting at the optimal times for each crop, maximizing your yield and extending your harvest season. First, grab your gardening calendar and familiarize yourself with your local frost dates. These dates mark the average last frost in the spring and the first frost in the fall. Knowing your frost dates is essential for protecting tender plants from cold damage. Next, make a list of all the vegetables, herbs, and flowers you want to grow. Once you have your list, it's time to do a little research. Each plant has its own unique preferences for temperature and day length. Some plants, like tomatoes, peppers, and basil, are warm season crops that thrive in the heat of summer. Others, like lettuce, spinach, and peas, prefer cooler temperatures and are best sown in early spring or late summer for a fall harvest. For each plant on your list, note down its ideal sowing and transplanting dates based on your local climate and frost dates. To make your planting schedule even more effective, consider using a technique called succession planting. This involves sowing small batches of fast-growing crops, like lettuce or radishes, every couple of weeks. This ensures a continuous supply of fresh produce throughout the growing season. Another helpful tip is to start some seeds indoors before the last frost date. This is especially beneficial for plants with a long growing season like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. Remember, your planting schedule is a living document. Flexibility is key. Now that we have our planting schedule all mapped out, it's time to gather our tools and supplies. Having everything organized and within reach makes the gardening process so much smoother and more enjoyable. First things first, let's inspect our tools. Give your trusty hand trowel, garden fork and pruning shears a good cleaning. Remove any dirt or debris and sharpen any dull blades. Sharp tools make cleaner cuts, which helps prevent disease and promotes healthy plant growth. Next, check your watering can or hose for any leaks or clogs. Proper watering is essential for thriving plants, so make sure your watering equipment is in tip-top shape. If you're using a watering can, consider getting one with a rose attachment for gentle watering of delicate seedlings. Now, let's move on to supplies. Take inventory of your seed packets. Do you have everything you need for your planned plantings? Check the expiration dates on your seeds, as older seeds may have lower germination rates. It's always a good idea to order your seeds from a reputable supplier to ensure quality and freshness. In addition to seeds, you'll need potting soil for starting seeds indoors and for filling containers. Choose a high-quality potting mix that's specifically formulated for seed starting or container gardening. Fertilizer is another essential supply for a productive garden. Plants need nutrients to grow strong and healthy, and fertilizer helps replenish those nutrients in the soil. Finally, gather any other supplies you might need, such as plant markers, twine for supporting climbing plants, and a garden journal for jotting down notes and observations. Having everything organized and accessible will make your gardening tasks so much more enjoyable and efficient. Now comes the exciting part, designing your dream garden. This is where your creativity can truly blossom. We've already laid the groundwork with our goals, space assessment and planting schedule. Now it's time to bring it all together with a design that is both functional and beautiful. Imagine strolling through your garden, sunlight dappling through the leaves, the air filled with the scent of herbs and flowers. What atmosphere do you want to create? Do you envision a formal garden with geometric beds and perfectly pruned hedges, or perhaps you prefer a more relaxed and naturalistic style, with plants spilling over pathways and attracting a flurry of pollinators? Consider the flow and layout of your garden. Do you want raised beds for better drainage and easier access? Raised beds are also a great option if you have limited space or poor soil. They can be built to any size or shape, and can even be made mobile for those who like to rearrange their gardens. Pathways are another important design element. They guide you through the garden and create a sense of journey and discovery. Will you opt for straight and practical paths for easy access, or winding paths that meander through your plantings, inviting you to slow down and savor the moment? Think about the materials you want to use for your pathways. Gravel, mulch, stepping stones, and even reclaimed bricks can all add texture and visual interest to your garden. Now, let's talk about plants. This is where your personal style really shines through. Do you gravitate towards a riot of colors and textures, or do you prefer a more subdued and harmonious palette? Consider the height and spread of your plants. Place taller plants at the back of borders, or in the center of island beds, with shorter plants in front. This creates a layered effect that adds depth and dimension to your garden. Spring gardening is a journey that starts with thoughtful planning. By setting clear goals, understanding your garden space, and creating a well-structured planting schedule, you're setting the stage for a truly rewarding experience. As you embark on this exciting journey, embrace the process, experiment with new ideas, and most importantly, have fun. Happy gardening, everyone!